downtown. Dragic! A triple to end the third quarter, and he wants more. It's a Robinson rainstorm from downtown. Jimmy on the glass, rams it back with both hands. Out to Herro for the three. Yes! Butler did it! Oh, say it with your chest! Second to none! What a start to the overtime for Miami.
Yep. Welcome to the 5 Real Sports Post Game Show, aka the Post Up. Guys, we finally have a finality to one of the most frustrating seasons that we've ever had to experience as a fan base. We ended it getting swept by the Milwaukee Bucks.
For only the second time in franchise history.
Only the second time in franchise history. So with me today, for the last time, I have Ariel Latias, Gadiel Cartagena, Brian Young, the First Lady of 5 Region Sports, Alana Tahauer, and the OG himself, Alfredo Arteaga. Before we get started, we got an early don't know tonight. So thank you, Typhoon Warning, for the $9.99 don't know. He said this season sucked. You could say that again. But I have a question. I've been wondering all season, will Goran and Jimmy have their jerseys retired by the Heat whenever they retire? If so, where would they rank Heat all time? I think Goran for sure. Well, Jimmy too at this point. I think they both have their jerseys retired. We've had this conversation before about Jimmy being ranked top 5 all time on the Miami Heat's players. Goran probably the best point guard. We know we got some pushback with Tim Hardaway, but Goran is one of the top 2 point guards this franchise has ever had. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I don't even know if we really want to talk about this game or if we want to do a recap of the entire season. Mm-hmm. You guys want to do a recap of the entire season?
Who cares about the game? Like, was this really ever that much in doubt? Like, even when the Heat were up, how confident were we that the Heat were going to win this game?
I was pretty confident. I don't hate the way we played today, except for the third quarter.
In the second half.
And the fourth.
Yeah, but the first half, yeah, I was saying we were winning the title. Like, so, I mean, the new agenda. Welcome to Board of Governors, Alfredo. But, yeah, no, so I was pretty confident.
I wasn't.
I'm sorry. I'm hearing stuff in my head. But, yeah, so I wasn't too disappointed with how we played in the first half. But, you know, the third quarter reared its ugly head at one of the worst possible times of the season. Thank you, Brent, the movie guy, for the $1.99. Don't know. He said Pat needs to get Kawhi, plain and simple. We've been talking about Pat potentially getting people all the time. But let's talk about the game. Damn, we got another don't know. Thank you, Miami Sports Team, for the $25 don't know. You the man. He said, appreciate the coverage, the laughs after a whirlwind season. The boy feeling good about the Dolphins' future. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But no, let's Ari, you started talking a little bit about it anyway. Let's get to the game before we start talking about the season. So tell me what you thought about the game.
Well, like Alana had alluded to, like I thought they played really well in the first half. The energy was there. They were playing like a team that didn't want to go home. And I kind of didn't expect that from them based on what we've seen from the Heat in the last 2 games. The competitive disposition was there. They were trying. Like there's a lot of X's and O's and schematic things and rotation patterns and things that we can point to that should have been done differently. But at the end of the day, what this came down to was the Heat didn't bring it every single night. They brought it in game 1. They didn't bring it in game 2. They didn't bring it in game 3. They brought it for the first half tonight. I thought they were attacking more frequently and earlier in possessions. I thought they were finishing defensive possessions with rebounds in the first half, which let them push the pace and draw a lot of fouls on the Bucks in the first half as well. They did a good job of keeping Giannis out of the paint. As soon as the third quarter came, the effort and the energy was more or less gone. It seemed like, you know, the approach was very lackadaisical and the Bucks were playing with purpose and getting to their spots and doing whatever they want. They started hitting their shots and it was a wrap from there.
Yeah, so one of the things, your main point was that the Heat didn't bring it. That usually starts with your best player. Mm-hmm. Gadiel Cartagena, you've been particular. Oh, so thank you, White Leg, for the 50. Those are pesos. That's what we did last time?
I think so.
Yeah, let's go with that. There's a 50. Thank you for the 50 pesos. He said, Wallace, sweet, give Bam a front court partner. Sure.
Absolutely.
Gadiel Cartagena, the effort is usually spearheaded by your best player. We didn't get playoff Jimmy. We didn't get stupidly locked in Jimmy. We didn't get good Jimmy this series. But talk about this game and particularly what you saw or wished you had saw from Jimmy Butler.
I don't know what Jimmy was alluding to before the series as he's stupidly locked in. Just get me to the playoffs and I'll handle it. Handle what? Like, he handled himself in this series because, honestly, he was legitimately trash. And you look at, like, his numbers shooting. He's a player who predominantly shoots 2-point shots. He's not a 3-point shooter. He's never really been a 3-point shooter. He'll get them every now and again. But on his career, he has never shot under 43% on twos in the playoffs. Not including today, which I would imagine would bring the number even lower. He shot 30% from two in these playoffs. Last year in the playoffs, he averaged 22, 6, and 6. This year, he averaged 15, 6, and 6. Like, he played like Draymond Green throughout the majority of the series, which is fine if you have 2 or 3 other great players around him. But Jimmy was supposed to be the best guy. He absolutely folded. And I understand it's a tough matchup. Yes, I'm not going to go off on Jimmy too much. Like, he deserves a ton of blame, but I think the majority of this falls on particularly the front office. But this was just really disappointing from Jimmy. You want your leader to show up. And I actually thought people played well today, but Jimmy was one of the players he was lacking. If he just gives you his average 21 points and not just a triple-double, then this game looks much closer down the stretch until the Bucks absolutely blew it open. But it was just frustrating to watch Jimmy talk all that shit and then not back it up in the slightest. That seems very unlike him, very unlike the Heat, but it's what happened. And credit to the Bucks. They showed up. They beat us last year. They lost to us last year. They wanted us this year, and they showed up and showed out. Like, credit to the Bucks, but Jimmy, you can't talk all that smack and do this. That is just embarrassing.
That is very true. Thank you, D, for the $5 donation. He said Jimmy needs to really work on his jump this offseason. Shaking my head, and we should let Duncan go and get a 3-and-D player. Okay, so Jimmy Butler is not going to get a jumper right now. That's just not who he is. He's been in the league, 10 years, 11 years? Like, he is what he is as a player, bro. He's not getting that. And we cannot let Duncan go for nothing. That's just out. Thank you, Arnell Arevalo. Bro, help me.
Arevalo.
Thank you for the 300 pesos. He said Jimmy didn't have it in him this time around. He looked disengaged. Makes me question now if he can really be a number one option on a championship team. He looked like one last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason Adebwale, for the $9.99. Don't know. He said last 2 seasons would have been dominated by 2 teams because we were too small. That's always going to be a problem. If Bam is your 5 and essentially your tallest player, we've not talked enough about that.
We've talked about that a ton.
But again, they got to the finals with Bam as the 5, so that's not.
We can talk about it more, though. I'm willing to entertain that conversation.
Bro, listen, I want to acknowledge the donos. I actually want to get through a conversation before we hit 20 minutes. But we can talk about a lot of shit on this show because the season's fucking over. We don't have nothing else to talk about after this. This is the last show. So thank you to God06 for the $4.99 dono. He said, I'm not mad at the fact that we lost the series. The Bucks are a good team, but the fact that we got swept is hurting my soul. We're the only team in the first round that has gotten swept. That is the most embarrassing part about this, is that every other team found a way to at least get a game, and Miami couldn't do that. Thank you, Jeff305, for the $5 dono. He says, see that Bucks tweet? Wow. Nope, I did not see it. But I think we got Adam Barai in the back. Adam, if you're producing, go find the Bucks tweet that Jeff is talking about so that you can put it up. Alana.
I love it. Yes, with the shade.
How's he doing in the playoffs?
That's so good. That's so good.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Is Mo Harkless going to be the difference in this series?
I fully back that.
That might be good, but he wasn't. So that's take it off, bro. Like, okay, enough. Alana.
What up?
I got two more donos, but I'll read them after you talk because I feel like we've been waiting 20 minutes. Go ahead, talk about this game, the season, whatever in the fuck you want to talk about. I don't really care.
Okay. I don't even know where to begin, and selfishly, I'm gonna save a lot of my thoughts for me and Michael's pod on Monday. But here's what I will start with. To me, this is an asterisk season. It wasn't last year. The fact that
was an amazing plug, by the way. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I do what I can. The fact that people are making basically like such generalizations based on this season alone honestly blows my mind. We went into it with essentially no offseason. Then we got hit with COVID and a plethora of injuries. We had some games messed up because of COVID protocols. And I understand that people are frustrated. I'm frustrated too. I just don't think that this season is indicative necessarily of all the things people are saying about every player. I've criticized Bam a lot, but do I think that this sample size is enough to be like trade him away? Not really. The entire kind of narrative now happening about get rid of Duncan, are we sure we want to do that? I just feel like there's a lot being said based on this season, and I don't think this season is a real season. I actually think last season was more so who we were. I think Jonathan made a great point during pregame that everyone was kind of on the same tier in the bubble. It's this season where different teams struggled with different things, scheduling-wise, COVID protocol-wise, etc. So, listen, this sucks. I did not want to get swept. I also didn't see us coming out of the first round, though, and I didn't actually see us making the playoffs, so I'll take what I can get. Just forget the season and let's move on.
You know what, Alana? That's kind of like an optimistic point for me because for a lot of time I was calling us in the play-in game. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think we would have been better off had we been in the fucking play-in game. Just being honest. Thank you, Abdel, who may or may not be able, Sean, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said Blues Clues, Brian, Queen Molana, Culture Minutes, Gad, KO Stan, Atias, Go Alf, and Royal Jarvis Venato. Thank you all for the entertainment and coverage. No, bro, thank you for joining us all year in the comments, bro. You have been dope, amazing, awesome. Brett, the movie guy, he said the Monstars took our talent. That may be true. I think we got a 19. Jason Adeboale with the $4.99. Don't know. He said, yeah, we got to the finals playing the Pacers that played small with Warren at the 4, the Celtics as well. The Celtics were
what about the team in the middle? There was one team in the middle.
They completely glossed over that team.
The number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference last year. Yeah. And thank you to I Got Poetic Lifestyle for the $19.99. Don't know. He said Jimmy is the number 2 and Bam is the number 3. We need someone who can flat out score 25 points per game. Coach needs to realize Bam is not a center. Getting swept should be a big wake-up call. Congrats to the Bucks. The better team won. I 100% agree with everything that you said, just being honest with you. Alf, you go last because you're the smartest person here. Brian, your turn. Talk about basketball, the Miami Heat, and playoffs.
You know what, man? I'm not even mad at it. Like,
you're not even moving either.
How do you do that?
Because I came in knowing that the Bucks were a better team. You know, it's like what am I going to be upset about? The fact that an underdog lost. I'm pretty sure the Heat weren't favored to win any of those games. So what probably happened, or what probably should have happened. You know, it's like, what can I be upset about? I think that there are things to criticize, but I don't know that any of that would have made a huge difference. You know, even during this game when the Heat were up 10, I was like, the Bucks are missing basically every 3 and turning the ball over like crazy and committing dumb fouls. And once they turn it on, they're going to be fine because they're a really damn good team. There's no shame in losing to the fucking Bucks. Like, they're a championship contender team. If the Nets weren't in the East, I'd be picking the Bucks to win the championship. So I'm chilling. It's not like they lost to the Knicks, you know? This team has been inconsistent all season. The Bucks are really damn good. So whatever, man. I'm not mad at it.
If we had played the Knicks, then we probably would have still been playing. Thank you, Christian Cardus, for the $1.99. Don't know. He said if only the KK Celtics didn't use biological warfare. Bro, shut up, bro. Alfredo Arteaga, make us all smarter.
All right, on Jimmy, I just give him a pass. I give him a complete pass. His run last year through the playoffs, he deserves it. Okay, he faced huge obstacles in this series, namely a guy who's 7 feet with a wingspan of about 18 feet. He just couldn't get a shot off. Everything they tried to get him open, to try to get him looks, he couldn't get a shot off. He felt suffocated. Like, if you watched him, he looked overwhelmed. So I guess the offensive game plan wasn't all that great and wasn't helping Jimmy. Jimmy then couldn't adjust. Then he looked at the scoreboard. He saw that we're down 3-0. And, and like I said, sometimes quitting time comes around for everybody. Now, as far as Milwaukee and, can you be upset? You really can't be. Like, they're much better. But you can't be upset at this effort. Like, they're not this bad to just get smoked 3 games in a row, and to be honest with you, they probably should have taken one game. As far as being a favorite or not, game 3, they were a 1.5 point favorite. It got bet down to 1. So that's essentially pick 'em. Yeah. In game 1, intra-game, in the third quarter, they were actually a favorite to win that game. Could they have taken 2 games? They probably should have, with just mere effort and better play. But they didn't. It was a complete disappointment, the entire series. And what kind of caps a disappointing and this season was hard to get through. It really was. It wasn't enjoyable at all.
No.
This season.
Tell me the fuck about it. Michael Regalado, I remember you from last game. Thank you for the $1.99. Don't know. He said time to get Levine. I think I got Adam found the Bucks tweet. Put it up. What did the Bucks say? This ain't the bubble.
Ooh.
Burn. What? Okay. Thanks.
Hey, they get to talk shit right now.
They up.
Much deserved.
Yeah, but also they live in Milwaukee. Let's chill.
Yeah, so how much does it really hurt?
Every day you got to wake up and realize you're in Wisconsin. That's a horrible existence.
Yep. That's what I'm saying.
Yo, so we got $50 from our guy Marcus Harris. Thank you for the dono, brother.
Again, not to repeat it because we said it on the last post game. The last time the Bucks won a championship, Lou Alcindor had not converted to Islam.
Exactly. RJ Barrett was.
It's been 1,000 years, and it could be another 1,000 years. The Brooklyn Nets are as good as we think they can.
They can talk as much smack as they want right now.
RJ Barrett signed his first autograph to Oscar Robertson the last time.
Ethan Skolnick got his first journalism job.
Right, exactly. Writing the 10 Commandments. Head scratcher. Still, Spo refused to play Bam and Dedmon together. Oladipo injury really, really hurt the Heat chances. Big gamble, but big fish hunting in the offseason. Lowry, Kawhi, and DeMar. So thank you for the $50 dono. A bigger head scratcher. We didn't see any of Bielitsa after he showed some signs of life in that last game either. Like the Bam Dedmon thing not being played together, that is confusing. So let's get into that a little bit. Alana, you seem like you were the most in agreement with it. What's there? I don't know.
Yeah, I tweeted this earlier. I don't understand, especially I think at the fourth, like, why not? Why not just put them in together? Obviously, size was a huge issue for us. I'm not saying it would have solved anything. I'm not saying it would have necessarily won us the game, but you might as well try them both together. The belly thing really confuses me too. He came out aggressive. He hit his shots. And then after the fact, he said that he's ready and wants to play. So again, at that point in this game, you really had nothing to lose. This goes back to my criticism of Spo this season, though. I think some of his lineups have been questionable. I don't think he's been that great at adjusting this season either. So I don't know. I think honestly, if anyone deserves a lot of the blame, it's Spo.
My thing about the Spo criticism is who the fuck is he supposed to play? That's always been my question about this.
So you got to remember, what's he supposed to do? It's a Spo thing. He doesn't give a crap about the standings until like February 1st.
Yeah,
and then that's when he settles on a rotation and he starts playing a rotation. And that was during the Big Three era. He actually
and my criticism has been literally for 10 plus years. This is not a this season thing. I just personally find some of his choices questionable. To Royal's point, though, this season, like, we didn't have a lot of options, not only because of talent, but obviously like health was a problem. I just think, again, like today, to that comment's point, why didn't you just try? Like Belly hit some shots. We're losing anyway. Just put him in.
Doesn't trust him.
Yeah, I think
trust him for what? We were out anyway.
I hear what you're saying, but I think with Spo, we've seen time and time again, the number one thing that is seems to play into his decision making from an outside perspective is how much he trusts those guys. So like Duncan, for example, could be having a great game, but he trusts Tyler Herro down the stretch in games. Tyler could be playing like shit. Tyler's going to get those closing minutes 9 out of 10 times.
And I think that's my problem with his adjustments, because sometimes it seems like they're just all mental or based on personal preference, not the
stubborn.
Yeah, and
Super
I mean
stubborn.
he's a Scorpio, so I'm just gonna throw that out there and then back into a corner. Brian, sorry.
But it's kind of like but it's kind of like with players like that he has on the roster. It's like most of it is usually about feel, like who's hot this game, who's like playing well this game. He can't depend on a solid group of 5 players. consistently that he knows what he's going to get from it when he tries it out there. And so that goes into like the weird lineup combinations. Like from night to night, this man don't know what he's gonna get. So thank you, Christian Cardus, for the 199. Don't know. He said Milwaukee is literally bottom 5 cities in the U.S. Who am I to argue with you?
I might be generous.
But Gad, jump in here. I want Gad, Ariel, and Alfredo to jump in here on the Spo thing. So Gad, go ahead.
My biggest problem today was I understand, like, first, I'm putting most of the blame on the front office. I believe the talent on this team simply was not enough. The entire league got better while we signed Avery Bradley and Mo Harkless as our big moves. That's just not going to get you anywhere. But my biggest problem today, the fourth quarter, I believe we go in down 7 or 6, and then Spo comes out first 3.5 minutes. The Bucks have, I believe, maybe not Drew. They had Giannis and Middleton on the floor with Lopez, so they had their 3. And we played our 3-guard lineup with Iggy and Dedmon. And that game got blown out of the water to start the fourth quarter. That lack of adjustment in and of itself is the reason why I think Spo has been really subpar throughout this year, because he's been falling in love with these certain lineups that stylistically will get bullied by the other team. Like, you had Tyler Herro or Goran Dragic guarding Giannis at the top of the key. You lost that possession before the ball came over half court. That's the type of stuff that Spo was doing today. I was super frustrated with that. And then not playing Belly is another thing. Even if you don't trust him, you can't trust anybody. Like, 90% of the team has been absolute garbage, and the other 10% has been inconsistent. So you got to try different things. He wasn't able. He looked like the way Budenholzer looked last year against the Bucks, where he didn't play his stars enough, and he was unable to find a rotation that actually worked. So I was really upset with the way that Spo coached this season, but he'll be fine. He'll come back. Once we get better talent, he'll look much better. But this season and this series from Spo was very subpar, and he deserves definitely some blame.
I don't want people to think that I'm disagreeing with y'all on Spo. Like, I'll call it what it is. Like, Spo was shit this series. Like, I think he got out coached by Bud, which is something I didn't think was possible. But like, he was shit. But to counter your point just a little bit, that lineup that he started the fourth quarter with was the lineup that was actually showing some energy that kind of got us back into this game that we had lost control of in the third quarter. Got a couple of donos, and y'all are showing the F word out today. So thank you, D, for the $2 dono. He said, why are we so high for last season? Because we made it to the NBA Finals, D. That's why we're so high.
Yeah, that's why.
I think it was a pretty straightforward question.
And before everybody says, oh, you know, because they got an edge. Yeah, an edge doesn't get you to the finals going 4-0, 4-1, 4-2.
There's no edge.
Okay, never being behind in any of the series until the NBA Finals. And at one point, going into that, like, I think it was game 3 of the Celtics, they had led at halftime in almost every single game going into the game 3 against the Celtics. So no, there was no edge. You know, stop with this bubble bullshit.
A lazy narrative.
One thing about basketball is that the better team always wins, because you have to beat them 4 times out of that 7. So thank you, Jeff305, for the $5 donation. He said we really headed towards the summer next year where Jimmy wants a 4-year deal at $45 million, new cap per deal. He's going to get it. His game is not edge well, love him, but he going to get that damn money.
How can you say that, bro? He just had
hold on, Ariel. I got like 5 fucking donos to read.
I know.
Thank you, Jennifer McCollin, for the $9.99 dono. He said, so here's a real question. Do we now have to hope the Bucks make it to the finals because it's better to get beat by the best? No, I don't think so, Jennifer. I think it's terrible.
No, absolutely not. Screw this Bucks team.
Right. Thank you, Richard Campbell, our boy, for the $70 dono. He said, thanks for a great year. The post-up show has made the season more fun for all of us. It added to the experience after all the brutal losses. Still had its moments with K9's rise, Dedmon memes, Jimmy being awesome until now. We'll be back for sure. Thank you, Richard Campbell. Always appreciate you for donating and participating, making the show much more fun. And we always appreciate all you guys for commenting, whether y'all giving us shit or giving us praise. So Alex V, thank you for the $5 dono. He said, you can tell Spo and the team had a flight booked to the Bahamas after Sunday. They wanted this to be over with. Yeah.
Can we, Adam? I think we have a video to play regarding the Heat being Very nice. Very nice.
Absolute perfection.
Beautiful. That is wonderful. You see what your money does when you give us money. Gad makes you videos. Thank you, Brett. The movie guy for $4.99. Don't know. He said Bucks fans call us poverty franchise, but Heat have a top 5 fan attendance, but Bucks fans are 18th. Maybe too busy making burner accounts or sweeping the Miami Heat in the playoffs. They may be too busy with that. To
that end, the Miami Heat for the last 25 years are top 5 in attendance if you go by percentage attendance. So, and Boston is not in the top 5. New York is not in the top 5. Lakers are.
Oh, so King Brian has made me aware that it's time for Brian to speak. Brian, listen, I'm not hosting this show. I am just here. Okay? I'm a ball mover. You pass me the rock, I'm passing it to somebody else immediately. I don't want to talk. I'm hurt. Go ahead, Brian.
Let's talk about the narratives that are going to come out after this game, undoubtedly, from people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. The bubble fraud narratives, right? We're going to see a lot of that over the next couple of days, or next couple of weeks, probably. And I just want to say, I haven't had a chance to express this on the pod. Anybody that says that any team is a bubble fraud is a fucking idiot. You don't know what time is, right? The fact is the Heat didn't they sweep the Bucks in the regular season too last year? Right.
Yes.
So they would have beat them.
I think it was
7-1.
Yeah, I thought that too. Gad pointed
They
that out.
beat us in the bubble the first time.
Oh, okay.
It was a bubble win, though. It wasn't for real.
Yeah, so that doesn't count either.
6 wins. That's still 6 wins in a year. If you do anything 6 times over a year, that's not a fraud, right? This year is different from last year. You can win. You can do anything at a particular point in time and not do the same thing in the future. That doesn't mean that the first time you did it's not real, right? So I don't know. This whole conversation about, oh, well, the Heat aren't good or whatever. The Bucks improved. They got Drew fucking Holiday, who's a really damn good player, right?
And Bryn Forbes.
And Bryn Forbes, who is shooting 45% from 3 on the season, right?
Bryn Forbes.
Like, there's a quote from the great Jordan St. Pierre, or George St. Pierre, I think I said Jordan, where he says, if you don't improve, the sport passes you by. And I think that the Heat have been a victim of that this season, where other teams got better and they kind of stood still. And I think that we saw the result of that. And I think that that's an okay thing. But that's not that says nothing about what the Heat did last year. Last year, they were 2 games away from winning a championship. So they're going to come back next year, make improvements, and it's all going to be chill. This is a downslide, but we'll be all right.
Guys, this is a monumental moment in time. I actually agree with something Brian has said, which literally has not happened once this season. So note the date and time, y'all.
The end of the season. Don't worry. It'll stick out in there.
It only took this long.
Right. I'm telling you. But yes, to Brian's point, the Heat about to blow this shit up. Go ahead, Alana. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
I am curious as to what happened to Duncan today. I don't know if we're trying to talk about the season in general, but
it's been happening all series.
Talk about whatever you want to talk about, Alana. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I understand that players are people. They struggle. There's up and downs. The season has been inconsistent, whatever. I just didn't feel like he would be the one to not show out or at least like be helpful enough, right? I'm not saying that he was going to carry us. But the fouls were dumb. His shots weren't hitting. And then Spo like sat him for an unnecessarily long time. I felt alone. I don't know. I just feel like Duncan could have done something for us today.
Alfredo, I'll let you take this one, bro.
Yeah, and Duncan, he was, it's also that scoreboard thing. Like you start looking at the scoreboard, like it's hard to like break down each game individually. And Duncan, other teams have shown the way. They've shown how you can erase them. So, Milwaukee just stepped it up after that first game. They started putting more of an emphasis on guarding Duncan, and they were picking him up sometimes at half court. So, yeah, the plan back to Spo again, I thought he brought his same bag of tricks from last year, and Budenholzer actually went to school on what went wrong and actually fix those things.
Credit to him.
But in the history of this franchise, they've had 2 feel-good run-it-back moments, and both of them ended in the only sweeps in the franchise's history, which was 2007 and then this year. So maybe they don't run it back again, ever again.
Blow this shit up.
I think that the team has had a tendency to run things back, though, when they find a little bit of success. With a 30-11 team, they felt really, really confident, ran it back, and it ended up being horrible. Even at the tail end of the Big Three era, I don't think that they did enough to change up the team. And when you have a bunch of old dudes who are going this way, and you don't make any changes, you kind of expect failure. And I think it's kind of similar with this roster, where you have a lot of players who aren't really getting better. Andre Iguodala isn't really getting better. Goran Dragic getting better, and you can't really expect those guys to keep the same type of production. So, unfortunately, they're going to kind of have to change up that philosophy from what they.
Well, it's in Pat Riley's book. It's in Pat Riley's book.
The loyalty shit.
Yeah, he says when the team shows you something, bring them back until they don't show you it again. And
and again, I go back to the GSP quote: "The sport's going to pass you by if you do that."
Look at you mentioning my boy GSP from the famous TriStar Gym. Appreciate you.
I have no idea what
Name
you're talking
dropping.
about. Thank you, Question Everything, for the $2 dono. He said the Heat smoking that Mickey Mouse pack. Get the fuck out my comments, but keep giving us money.
We are
thank
the
you.
Mickey Mouse pack. What?
Thank you. Hold on, I got a couple of donos I can't find. So thank you, Degado6. He's for the $4.99 dono. He said, I'm not blaming the Heat for not doing anything in the offseason. They were saving the money to get Giannis, but unfortunately, he signed that big deal.
We signed Myers Leonard at the crack dawn of free agency for $9 million.
Also, that's stupid to put all your eggs in one basket.
Hold up. No,
Alana made my point.
We know for a fact, it's been reported by Ethan, people like Adam, Greg. We've heard that the Heat tried to do other things last summer. Things just didn't work out. They tried for Danilo Gallinari. They thought they could get who was it? Marcus Morris, if I remember correctly. Right? True. Okay, fine. But sometimes things just don't work out. It's just and you have to pivot.
That's fine. Thank you, Champ Graham, for the $4.99 dono. He says, so what's really going on internally that y'all aren't talking about? It's obvious the team didn't play for each other. Jimmy and Bam just quit. I don't know who you think we are, but we have zero sources combined on this show. Thank you, White Leg.
I want to say one thing here because I think Michael. Sorry, I just need to say this. Michael brought this up on our pod, and I think it's a good point. I think the biggest.
Time you brought up that damn pod.
I'm gonna keep doing it, but I think the biggest difference from us last year to this year is honestly the chemistry. So this is a good point. Not that I know anything, I have no inside sources, but it is something to keep in mind.
I lost the fucking dono. Thank you, White Leg, for the 125 peso dono. He said, blame Pat. He went all in Giannis instead of improving the roster, hoping for a guard that can get Bam easy baskets or at least can collapse the D. Again, to Ariel's point, they tried more than Giannis. Giannis was plan A. Plan A through C failed. Thank you, IJM2X. I think you gave another dono with no comment, but you commented this time to make sure I saw it. Thank you for the $4.99 donation. He said D-Wade wouldn't have allowed us to get swept. Duh. It almost seems like we rely on role players too much.
And by the way, I know and when you said that there's zero sources among us, I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, I'm saying touch regular folks. Touch regular folks. Al.
Flex.
Okay, I think there was very strong evidence that they were trying to get both Kyle Lowry and Victor Oladipo at the deadline, and you just can't force Toronto to just give you Kyle Lowry. If they're going to hold out for Herro and they're going to say no, you have to give us Tyler Herro, and you keep saying no, eventually it just breaks down because there is a time limit on those things. So they almost pulled that off. Would that have been enough to win the series? No. Maybe extend the series. Maybe it goes longer.
Yeah, I think we have a much better chance with those two playing and on the roster. But, I mean, I think this was almost an inevitability that we lost to this team because they're just so much better than we are. And they showed that in this series. Thank you, Ralph the Ace, for the $4.99 dono. He said, if the player is available or on the table, how many untouchables do we really have talk next season? We have 2 untouchable players on this roster. Everything else is on the table for the right player. I hated to agree with him, but Adam Barra made a good point last time when he said that you have to bring back Tyler so that he can recoup some of that value. You don't just trade him for anything. You try and make sure that you get the most that you can for him if you are going to trade him, or hope that he bounces back in a major way next season. Thank you, Christian Cardus, for what is the most money you've probably ever given us. $9.99. Don't know. He said Knicks win, normalize parading over making the playoffs. Nets win, opens doors for Harden over Wade convo. Philly win, legitimizes the process. The antithesis of Heat culture. Heat Nation should root for the Bucks. Nope.
I don't give a shit.
I disagreed with 80% of that.
Yeah. Nope. I'm not doing none of that. Who hasn't gotten a chance to lead the conversation? Gadiel Cartagena. Talk about what you want to talk about.
What do I want to talk about?
Yeah.
I will say this. I think what happened to us in this series, clearly this team wasn't going to win a title this year. I think we were all in agreement for that. What happened in this series, yes, the Heat looked much worse than we saw earlier, but there is no way that Pat Riley and the entire front office can look at this team and say, we don't need to make a ton of improvements in order to get to where we want to be. So I'm excited to see what the offseason looks like. I don't know about you guys, but seeing this team get embarrassed in this way, yes, it sucks as a fan, but I feel like it could be something that the team will use as an excuse to just absolutely blow the shit up, which would be exciting to a certain extent.
This summer. Oh, sorry. I thought you were
No, go ahead.
about-
Go ahead, Ariel.
I was going to say this summer just needs to be about filling out the roster with two-way guys that when you put them on the court, you're not always giving up one side of the ball. It's okay to maybe not be a great three-point shooter, or you don't have a whole lot else off the bounce, for example, but you can't be one-dimensional on one end and then just you can't defend. Because it like the Bucks are able to put on the court at pretty much whenever they want, especially at winning time. They can put 5 good defenders who can also score the basketball and do other things at one time. The Heat couldn't do that ever this season. And I think that the biggest drop-off in this series from last season, or the series last year rather, was apart from just Jimmy not playing as well. The reason that that's happening is maybe there's a little bit of disengagement there, but I think that that's due to the fact that the Heat role players couldn't make shots. Like nobody else could do anything. In games 1, and I want to say in game 3, I can't even remember. It's all a mess in my head now. But they got good looks. Like they were getting good. Game 2 was a blowout, but those other games, they had good looks. They had opportunities to make shots. They just didn't go down. And if those shots go down, it opens up the floor. Jimmy and Bam have more driving lanes. It changes everything. When Jimmy can never get to the rim and he has to take 9 threes in game 1, it's hopeless. So you need more two-way guys. You need guys who can step up and be legit role players that you can trust and not just dudes that are situational players that get cooked on one end or the other end.
Yeah,
Unless that guy is extremely elite on one end, Ariel Latias.
What's that?
So that means
unless that guy's extremely elite on one end.
Well,
like
if there's
Zach LaVine, which kind of goes into Michael Regalado's $199 dono. Thank you for the dono. He said, "What's the best package we can offer for LaVine? Everything short of Jimmy and Bam." Thank you, Art Man, for the $125 peso. I'll stop after this and let Alfredo jump in. He said, "Since 2015, when we lose out on big free agents, not Butler, we get overpaid bums or G League players as compensation. It needs to stop this offseason." I don't really know who we have right now that's an overpaid bum outside of Andre Iguodala.
Just go out and get Kawhi. Just and you solve that.
Just
problem.
make it. Yeah. Go ahead, Alfredo.
Well, yeah, getting Kawhi would solve a lot of problems and erase all of these arguments that we're making. But I think
LeBron James.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people saw this team in the finals and think, okay, this is who they are going forward. So the baseline is Eastern Conference champions. And every time that you don't win the Eastern Conference, you're underachieving. It doesn't work that way. Teams deteriorate, okay? They what's the word that I'm looking for? They devalue over time, right? It's going to have to start with sitting in a room with Andy Ellisberg, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, and admitting to themselves who they currently are. This team is in a class with the Hawks. It's in a class with the Knicks. It's probably in a class with Boston, although I liked their effort yesterday against Brooklyn. It's in that class. They're in the second half of the playoff teams in the Eastern Conference. So they got to figure out a way to be better than those teams. Because I'm not. Are you absolutely certain that the Heat are better than the Atlanta Hawks right now? No, I'm not.
Right now,
I'm not.
No,
I'm
They're
not.
in the same tier.
That should be goal number one. Goal number one should be to be better than the Hawks. So start the offseason with that, okay?
Wait till they get Paul George. Pain.
Hey, I'll be less afraid of them in the playoffs.
They still have Trae Young, who's a playoff villain.
You gotta be a top 4 team. You gotta be a top 4 team in the East. If not,
That's crazy because when he said we have to be better than those tier teams, like he named Boston, and I'm not so sure if right now Miami is much better than Boston. Like Boston is.
Well, I'll give Miami the nod, man, because they played 2 games in Boston. Boston could have won those games.
Yeah, that's
to
why I
get
said
the
much
5 seed,
better.
and Miami
That's why I
beat
said
them.
much better.
So
Yeah.
they already played. They kind of
They also
played a
now Jalen
playoff
Brown
series.
though.
Yeah,
But at the same time, guys,
Matters.
that Miami Heat team that we saw over that 12-4 finish wasn't the team that showed up to play the Bucks.
it wasn't the team that showed up for most of the season, Ariel.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm with you.
So are we really like that confident that we're better than Boston when Boston had a similar set of circumstances?
No, we're
and on
equal.
top of that,
This
we're
season
equal.
wasn't
Yeah, they're about
us
equal.
though. That's
With
what I'm
Jalen Brown
trying to
healthy, it's
say.
equal. But
I
Alana,
don't think this season is that much of an anomaly, though, Alana. Like I don't.
Yeah,
think
but
I
that this season is
disagree.
No,
I
I
feel
agree.
like
I'm with Alana.
circumstances that teams go throughout the year. Like you're gonna have injury, you're gonna have other stuff. Was it a little bit more than usual? Absolutely. It was a short offseason, whatnot. But like you're
Yeah,
playing
but
with fans now. You're playing against teams that aren't
compared-
complete in the regular season. There's not excuses that can go around for this team just being.
Listen, I'm not
subpar.
making excuses. I'm calling people out like they should be called out. I'm just saying I don't think enough people are thinking about what we actually had to go through. And I'm not saying that, like, yeah, injuries happen every season, but us compared to a lot of the other teams that we are sitting here comparing ourselves to, there's no comparison.
Look,
Especially if you think about
Austin went through the same
who
thing.
we-
There is none. They're probably better.
No, hold up. End of the day, the 4 teams that made the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals last year all had significant, substantial injuries at some point throughout the season. The Nuggets have done the best out of the 4. However, if you look at the teams that took the leap this season and the teams that have done really well in the playoffs so far, they're teams that had extended breaks and were relatively healthy for the whole season. So absolutely, it affected.
And if you think about the people that took the most hit for us, like we don't have that many people, to Royal's earlier point, that really can step up. So when Jimmy Butler is the guy with COVID, that's worse than a lot of other teams. So I don't think it's fair to overlook that. That's not an excuse. We should have done better this season. But to just say that, like, oh, this season was indicative of who we are, I don't believe that.
I don't think we're saying that it's indicative of who we are. I'm just saying that part of it can be taken as fact, as what we are. Like I don't think we can just ignore everything and then chalk it up to saying, okay, Jimmy had COVID. Jimmy
No,
didn't
I
have
think
COVID
you have
these
to
past-
balance both points.
No, I understand. That's fair. But I don't think Jimmy had COVID these last 4 games. He just wasn't able to attack Giannis. I think that is something that's a legitimate concern for Miami. I don't think Bam, like Bam's aggression has been a story all season long. Like, and it showed itself in the playoffs. That's something that people have legitimate concerns about when you're talking about comparing them to other teams, as opposed to Boston, who got a guy who can go out there and get 50. You know what I mean? So when we're putting ourselves in these categories, like we got to look at ourselves objectively, just like we look at other teams.
Yeah. You know what? It's not illegal or against the norm to overcome stuff. You know what I mean? Last year, the Miami Marlins almost got disbanded over COVID. They ended up making the playoffs. At one time, you only have 26 guys on the roster. They had 18 guys that were out due to COVID at one point. 18. And they made a run. They made the playoffs. They won a playoff series. So you can't overcome things. I thought this team overcame it. Okay, I thought they overcome it. You did it with the 12-4. You know, it's just this series. This series, people are going to remember this series, and you got to remember this series because it happened. You can't project like, okay, if this happened, if that happened, maybe we win 3 games. No, you got smacked. You got embarrassed by the Milwaukee Bucks, and you got to eat it, and you got to work toward that. You got to work beyond that.
Absolutely.
And you got to have some self-examination. You can't project yourself into, oh, it's the Hawks. You know, we're better than the Hawks. No. Work to get better than the Hawks, because guess what? The Hawks are going to beat the Knicks. They're going to be in the second round, and you never know what the Hawks do in the second round, because if you watch that team, they're capable.
The Hawks are getting better because they're really, really young.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of money to spend on people.
That's the baseline. You got to get better than them. That's the team on the come up. That's who you have to get better than.
So let me get to a couple of these donos that we've missed over the course, because that was a really good conversation. I just didn't want to interrupt it with like dono talk. Thank you, Poetic Lifestyle, for the $199 dono. He said Mark Harkless just LOL. That's on Twitter. We saw it, and Alana was very happy about that.
He LOL'd himself all year.
Thank you, Cat for Life, for the $5.
Not on the Kings.
He said, well, and look at the Kings. Did Tyler Herro we played 4 more games than the Kings. Did Tyler Herro hit his ceiling last season in the bubble? Probably.
Mo Harkless had the time to tweet. That's all you need to know.
That's right. He was too busy watching other playoff teams. Thank you, Deckwis McDaniels, for the $4.99 dono. He said Bucks wanted to beat us all season. They played out of their minds against us every game. We need rebounders and more athleticism in the offseason. I wholeheartedly agree. Like,
100%.
Yep.
I wholeheartedly agree. We got killed on the boards damn near every game, and that shit was just kind of like it was toxic. I was somewhere else. Damn. Whatever. Champ Graham, thank you for the $4.99. Don't know. He said the two that quit on their team in this series, they didn't play hard. I understand you may not have sources, but there's definitely a disconnect. Look, we saw Bam and Jimmy out there too, just like everybody else. We have questions about what they did, and they didn't do much. Who's the next one, Adam? Oh, thank you, Jason Adebole, for the $9.99. Don't know. He said, thank y'all for getting me through the lows of this season. Such brilliant basketball minds. Hopefully, you guys create a locker room forum where we can all have dialogue. Who knows, bro? They got spaces on Twitter. We did that one time on the Clutch Corner. We might have an opportunity to do it again. But, I mean, you're being very generous when you said such brilliant basketball minds. I watch the games, get on here pissed off and drunk and just wrecked. Thank you, Jeff305, for the $5. Don't know. He said top four in the East is pretty set. Atlanta and Charlotte are a move away from being a problem, and they have assets. We have to get it.
Might as well disband the franchise, and why are we watching next season?
Fire Spoelstra.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, let's just trade everybody for picks, and let's just start over then. Well, it's set.
Exactly. Let's do the process.
Jeff 305 with his $5 donation said it's set, so
hey,
wasting our time then, right?
Atlanta is head and shoulders above other teams in the Eastern Conference, considering that they're in a dogfight with the New York Knicks. Miami sports teams, thank you for the $5 donation. He said, agree with Adam. The Heat should have one untouchable, and that's Bam. Keep Jimmy past his contract. In my opinion, will set us back if he's a max extend.
I'm not sure if that's what he meant, though. I'm just
he's in the background. He can come in here and clarify.
Yeah, he can come here and tell us what he meant.
I actually would think it's the opposite.
I'm with you, Alana.
That's what I'm getting to.
If we're gonna get rid of one of them, it's gonna be Bam.
Yeah, like
woo! I'm not ready for this.
Meatball. Goddamn.
I'm about to get destroyed. Just someone had to say it.
Michael Regalado, thank you for the $2.99. Don't know. He said, starting to think Bam isn't worth the max. Well, he's going to, damn it, get it. I don't care what y'all think. Look, I don't know. Damn, it's so many donos that I'm still missing. Thank you, Jennifer McPolin, for your $4.99 donation. He said, I'm going to miss hearing Ariel say against this offseason. It's the Canadian accent for
Do
us.
I say it wrong?
You say it with emphasis on the AI in the middle.
Against. Is that wrong? How do you guys say it? Someone else.
Against.
You guys suck.
You're from Canada.
I'm from Miami, buddy.
Oh, you live in Canada. Eh? Thank you to Dono 6 for the $1.99 dono. He said Ariel and Lana are speaking facts. Tell him. Look, thanks. We appreciate it. Yeah, I'm saying like they do this often. Thank you, Christian Carter, for the $1.99 dono. He said, "Speak, Queen, love the passion. Thanks for the hope." Thank you, Chap Graham, for the $4.99 dono. He said, "We need to get a legit score period. I need to set aside 20 minutes to read dono for this show." Listen, I appreciate y'all. It really halts the conversation for me. Like when dono's coming in, don't stop sending me your money. Don't. Listen, don't worry.
Well, you might want to just shut up and read the donos.
There we go. Let's go with that plan. I think you're good. Thank you, BB, for the $5 dono. He said, here it plays sensational against Boston in those two games, but quickly regressed in the series. Is there any hope we can get the old Herro back? I think
no, his career's over, and he should retire at the end of the season.
Listen, as the resident Herro hater on this show, I am going to, for once in my life, agree with Alana when they said that this season there should be a lot taken into context when you think about Tyler Herro. No offseason, short offseason. Tyler Herro will be better than he was this season next year.
And it's basketball. Things change like this.
It happens.
If you're watching the comments, the Heat need speed, they need size, they need more consistent shooting.
They need a scorer.
They need a
new
coach.
They need a better coach.
So other than that, they're great, right? So but all that can change if they just get the right guy, they get the right mix, they get some help. Yeah. Some health. Some of the guys improve over an off season. Relax. You got to relax. You got to let it play out a little bit. I understand everybody's a little bit emotional, a little bit, beaten up through this series, but
I'm dead inside.
Step back a little bit. Look at it from above. You know what I mean?
try and do something. Brett, the movie guy. Bucks fans haven't had this much fun since 1971. Hey, party like it's RJ Barrett's 16th birthday.
Because if tomorrow, not that they can do it, but if tomorrow they got Kawhi on this team, everybody's back on doing the hashtag Heaton 5 bullshit again. So
you already know it, bro. Like,
and so would I, by the way. By the way, you add Kawhi to this team, and I'm talking about you just get a couple of stiffs that can rebound. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be like this series never happened, Alfredo.
This is the favorite.
It's gonna be like the series never happened. We're gonna be back in Colin Cowherd mentions tomorrow. Fuck is you talking about? Thank you, Chuck Brown, for the $4.99 dono. He said we need to go get a legit score, period. Yes, we do. Thank you, the God 06 $1.99. He said y'all should definitely have an off-season show. I mean, sure.
Thank you for free agency day. When's that day? Anybody got that handy?
I'm gonna say
anywhere from now till the beginning of next season. It's got to be in there at some point.
It's a good guess.
It should be in July.
We can just pick random days. We can just pick random days.
Yeah, normally it's July 1st. Probably be obviously a little bit later this year, somewhere between July and August.
Yeah, we should do a show. We should do a show for free agency when it's kicked off, when the tampering period is over.
I'm with it. I think I got 3 more donos in it. No, I already read that one. I think I got 2 more. Thank you, Christian Cardus, for the $1.99 dono. He said Ariel close to smacking someone with a hockey bat. I don't know if they. I don't know if you used that right. Yeah,
it's a hockey bat.
Yeah, hockey bat. Thank you, Jennifer McPolin, for the $4.99 dono. He said Duncan will also be better. He had major improvements during the season. I think he can get even better during the offseason.
Sure.
I think so too. Like I like that. So here's what I want to do. I want to talk about some of your favorite moments from this season. So pick one moment from the season and talk about it. Let's do a little bit of optimism right now. Ariel, you're struggling the most with this, so you're going to go first. Ariel, pick one optimistic moment from this season to talk about.
That is the hardest question you've ever asked on this show. Oh my goodness. I guess the best moment for me would be the aforementioned Boston games, right? Going into Boston in a spot where you needed at least a split, if not 2 wins. Like they were fighting for their lives to stay out of that play-in game. After just constantly fighting to get back to 500 throughout the season. At one point they were 7-14, and then they fought back to 500, and then they were under 500 again. And it was just a battle of attrition with injuries and inconsistency and all of those things they dealt with all year. And then they go into Boston. The teams are separated by like a game, if I remember correctly, maybe a game and a half. I don't really remember exactly. And they get 2 huge wins up there. Huge wins. And that for me was the point this season where I was most excited about this team. I said, I think they're turning a corner. I think they're going to be all right. So I guess it would be that. I might be missing one. I can't remember off the top of my head, though.
Nah, it's cool. I'm going to jump in here because I'm the host and I can do that. And
Trading Kelly Olynyk.
Before somebody else take my moment, those 3 glorious Udonis Haslem minutes were the highlight of my season, bro. Like I loved every minute. What was it? 4 points, 3 rebounds, and putting his finger in Dwight Howard bitch ass face. Get your fucking. I loved it. Those are my favorite moments of the season. Thank you, Jason Adebale, for the $4.99 dono. He said Marion Herro and some first for Grant. He can improve and become a random scrub heat killer in Detroit. Which Grant? You talking about Jerry and Grant? Jeremy, Jarian. It's one of them. There's a lot of them motherfuckers.
They don't have any first to trade, but Hero for Grant would be a solid move.
You're also not adding anybody in free agency if you're adding him. It's going to be tougher.
Oh, he's on a big contract.
He's on like 20 mil. I mean,
20 mil.
It's going to be tough.
Thank you, Michael Regalado, for your $4.99 dono. No, I would not hear you out. You can take that comment down immediately.
That's horrible, bro. I read it. Oh my god,
bro. Like I read it too prior. Like I knew I was
not NBA 2K, man. Oh,
whatever,
goodness.
Bro. It's your 2K ass trades. Shout out to Greg Sylvander. Gat, what's your favorite moment from this year with the Heat?
This one actually ended in a loss, but that 41-point game that Bam had against the Nets, I don't think Jimmy Butler played in that game. I looked at that game and I said, "Holy shit, what is Bam going to become?" And then 2 weeks later, he was talking in post-game after scoring like 8 points, saying he needed to be more aggressive. But on that night, he had a rip-through on Kevin Durant in the post, and he almost got the N1 on it. And it was like the middle of the third quarter, and we almost won that game. It was a close game against the big 3 from the Nets. Just watching that game, I was in awe of what I was seeing. I really thought it was like the breakout game. Obviously, it wasn't, but we'll get there at some point. But just watching that moment, I was like, wow, Bam taking this step is going to be the next level for this team. He didn't take the step. The Heat didn't go anywhere, but whatever. That moment, you could not tell me anything about the Heat or Bam, even though we lost that night.
Yeah, Bam was he was cooking Jeff Green regularly in that game. The boy D said stop being biased Heat fans. D, I don't know if you've watched this show before, but I picked the Heat to blow teams out for 40 straight fucking games, okay? I just want to make sure that you got that in perspective, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't have a second favorite team. I only like the Heat, so my mind is warped into making it pro Heat. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, don't watch. Thank you. No, watch and give us money while you watch. Brian, give me a favorite moment from the Heat season.
Easily. People have been talking about in the comments, the Bam game winner versus the Nets. Look, the whole season, I knew this team was mediocre, whatever. So that's why I'm like, I don't care that they lost. But, for me, the things that I'm happy with, Bam's improvement, man. Like, it's great to see that dude. Like, I'm a huge Bam believer. I don't care if he's not untouchable or whatever. That dude is going to have a fantastic career. And I'm just really happy to be here at the beginning stages of it, man. I really think that guy is amazing. And to see him have moments like that shit just makes me smile. Also, he's Nigerian. So I like seeing my guy succeed.
Not your boy. Listen,
not your boy.
Listen, that I'm with you there, bro. Like, just think about what people are going to be saying about Bam Adebayo come year 7. Like, think of how people are going to view him.
We can't look long term, Royal. We can't. That's just we're not allowed to. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's not better tomorrow. It's a
trade him now to the King.
Has to be at 25 a game right now and putting that up every single night, or else he's not worth the contract.
Anthony Davis, apparently, to some people.
So thank you, Christian Cardus, for the 199. Don't know. I am not going to read this comment, but Adam, I would like for you to put it up, please. Like.
Gabe Vincent.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Christian Cardus. Alana, what was your favorite moment from this season?
Since y'all already took most of mine, I'm going to go with when Nunn had 30 against the Rockets because Jimmy didn't play and Bam didn't play, and it was Nunn's moment to shine. And I want to give Nunn his flowers. So we saw what Nunn could do. Well, right. we don't know that for a fact. Let's slow our roll.
He's gonna have a really fun time.
Don't believe everything you hear.
He's gonna be going crazy on the Pistons. That 18-5-4 is gonna be something
else.
Don't
wish my man in Detroit.
Tom Thibodeau is gonna run him into the ground.
Listen, I'm fine with him not being here. Just don't wish Detroit upon him. That's
he's gonna get his money and his numbers. I'm fine with whatever he does.
He gonna go crazy over the Beijing Sharks. Look at the front. The long Tigers. That's what he's gonna be playing for.
That Nunn Beasley combo on the Beijing, whatever. It's gonna be fire. Championship.
The second coming of Starberry over there in China. Fuck are you talking about? Alfredo, what was your favorite moment from this season?
Well, it's obviously the Bam Nets game winner, right? But I would also put the two Boston games. So it's basically it's an it's kind of like what you guys are saying. But there's another moment. There was a moment toward the end of the season when the Heat was starting to get a little bit more healthy and Chicago was on a run. And the Heat went in there and blew out Chicago in Chicago with 20 points from Goran Dragic in the fourth quarter. And I remember watching that game and thinking to myself, now Goran is coming in with 20 points in the fourth quarter. It's going to be impossible to beat this team in the Eastern Conference. And then, the rest of the season happened.
All right. I love the way you say Chicago.
Chicago.
I want to put that out there. Alana, how do you feel about the way he says Chicago?
I love it. I think I need to start saying it that way here. Just spread it around the city. Got it.
All right. So now we're going to go on the absolute inverse and talk about your lowest moment. So I'm going to read some donos to give you guys some time to think about that because the list is plentiful. Thank you, Danley Rutledge, for the $4.99 dono. He said, keep Bam, Jimmy, and Duncan, go for Kawhi, blow up the team, and get guards who can actually defend and make plays. Easier said than done, my brother. Thank you, Christian Cardus, for the $1.99 dono. He said none will show up She said, trust Shot-Town. She said, thank you, Richard Campbell, for the $10 dono. He said, I don't want another Tyler Gorn anchored bench personally. Defensive liability, durability concerns, and they're not as good offensively as their reputation suggests. I'd move on from one. That's a tough thing to do. Gorn's going to be a Heat lifer. He's going to outplay his contract next season. And that's what people should keep in perspective because Gorn's probably going to get – hopefully he takes the vet minimum.
I don't think it's going to be that low.
Happen. This team is way too loyal to do Goran like that.
Yeah.
What you mean? We just gave him $18 million for this.
Yeah, there's no way
I don't
they're
think
going to low ball him like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, they're going to pay him.
If there's anything over in the veteran minimum, I say let him walk too. Thank you. Thank you, Jamal 1482 for the $4.99 dono. He said, my favorite moment this season is when the Heat took Tyler Herro out of the starting lineup. Thank you, Michael Regalado, for the $1.99 dono. He said, my favorite moment was Oladipo's 4 games.
You guys remember that dunk, that breakaway dunk on the steal by Oladipo?
Oh, yeah, against the Lakers.
Send it to the emergency room.
And then when he hurt himself.
That was my third. That was my third. Nobody's beating this team in the Eastern Conference moment of the season. Yeah. That was the third time.
Watching Oladipo play defense in that first game he was here was also a pretty we got something here type moment.
Wait a minute, are we talking ourselves back into bringing Depot back or what?
Oh, bro, he and 8, bro.
No, we are not doing that.
He and 8, bro. That's where we at right now. He said, okay, what else we got? Never mind. We'll read some of the other donos, starting with Mac P later on. But what was the low point for you in this season? We'll start with you, Alf.
The low point?
Yeah,
Game 2. The first quarter, down 26 points. And then the second worst low point was game 3. In the second quarter when they were down 19. And the third worst low point was, I'm going to go with game 4. In the fourth quarter when I saw Dragic hit a 3 and I was like, okay, we might get in this. And I looked at the scoreboard, we were down 11. And I was like, okay, we're not going to get in this. And then and the fifth lowest point was when I was legitimately fearful of Bryn Forbes.
That's all the time.
Yeah, he terrified me. So thank you, Mac P. It looks like we got a Bucks fan in the chat. Thank you for your fucking money, by the way. We're not sure if Wisconsin currency transfers over here to real people money. He said, nothing better than revenge. Go Bucks. The next is next. Yeah, go fuck yourself. And thank you for your money again. Thank you, Brian Robinson, for the $1.99 dono. He said Ariel is Seth Rollins. Daniel Rutledge, thank you for the $2 dono. He said lowest points was not getting hard, and unfortunately, I think you have a fan in Ariel in Clutch who's been screaming from that shit from the beginning. Alana, what was your low point this season?
Re-signing Myers Leonard.
I can't hit on that at all.
Dumb. How
That
dumb
is
are we?
beautiful right
I
there.
can't. I'm sorry. I will never get over that. I'm glad we got rid of him. Blessings on that, but come on. That we should not be forgiven for that for the rest of eternity.
I would say another low point was something else that Myers Leonard did, but
this is also true.
Which
Using
makes it worse
racial
that we
slurs.
signed him in the first place or re-signed him. But
Well, we didn't know he was going to go on a live streaming
we
service.
probably should have assumed as much.
I mean, when he dyed the hair blonde, it was an insurrection sign going on there for me. He looked pretty.
Where was he on January 6th? That's what I want to know.
We know where he was. We know where he was. Nancy Pelosi also knows where he was. Let's move beyond all the racist people who play for. Yeah, let's move on from the racist people who played for Miami this season. Brian, what was your low point this year for Miami?
Easily the KZ Apollo ejection. Jeez. He was on his way to greatness that game, man. If KZ had finished with over 20, I would have flown down to Miami, thrown a massive party for my guy. It would have been fantastic. The perfect end to a perfect night. But instead, Adam Silver decided to call the refs up, tell them that they can't let this man gain confidence going into next season, and they got him out of there. I think it's the most bullshit ejection in NBA history, honestly. And for me, that is the low point of the season and the decade. Thank you very much.
So, I'm surprised your high point wasn't KZ Okpala's preseason game when we saw the second coming of Kevin Durant out there. Thank you, Jennifer McPolin, for the $4.99 dono. Said, can we stop pretending like we were ever going to get harder? No. It gives us more things to blame on Pat Riley. Gad, what was your low point this season, bro?
Losing back-to-back games to the Warriors and the Clippers. That was just – I have never been so distraught after 2 consecutive games. Like, Amir Coffey beat us, and then you have Steph Curry go like 1 of 20 from 3, and he beats us in overtime. It was just so painful. And then those 2 games, that was a real low point during the year. It sucked. And I think you weren't even on the post games for that, so we were just lonely.
Yeah, that was the night that went off the rails. I called them fucking gutless after they lost to the Clippers, I think.
That was brutal. We were out there alone, Royal. We needed your help. You were nowhere to be found. In the comments, actually. I think you were in the comments.
Yeah, I probably was. I don't know. It was probably one of my random nights off aside from that Heat winning streak, which was actually – the Heat winning streak was a low point for me because when they were actually playing fucking good, I couldn't be on the post-game stream to talk about it. And I just had to be on here talking about them being trash the whole goddamn year. Ariel, what was your low point this year?
So I have 2. Low point 1 was – this is going to sound kind of obscure to you guys, but February 18th at Sacramento, the Heat won 118-110. That was Kelly Olynyk's best game of the year in a Heat uniform. He had 22 points, 7 rebounds on 10 of 16 from the field. He went crazy, and I thought he was never going to leave. But my actual low point, as far as like the team, that Hawks loss towards the end of the season, where they were missing half the roster. Trae Young doesn't play. Whole bunch of other dudes are out. Bogdanovich absolutely kills you. You had your whole roster save for Oladipo, if I remember correctly, and they needed that win. And if they win that game, they don't even play the Bucks in the first round. They play the Knicks.
There's somebody in the comments that brought up. Remember that when Malik Monk happened?
Oh, bro, I was about to get right into that, bro. I got a couple of them for you. The Charlotte loss, the Detroit Pistons lost early in the season when we're playing fucking Philadelphia early when Tyler Herro shouldn't have played. Every fucking Tyler Herro transition 3 that he took this goddamn season, I almost lost my goddamn mind. Goran playing 35 minutes at the beginning of the goddamn season.
Oh, we lost to the Wizards without Westbrook, I think.
Yeah. We lost to everybody without everybody. We lost to the
Minnesota. Yep.
That was fucking horrific. Goran scoring 20 points in the fourth quarter was actually a low point for me in Chicago because I actually had to get on here and talk about a win in which the team played like absolute shit for 3 quarters. Like those were low points for me. All of them were low points. I don't know which one was the lowest because they were all pretty bad. Arguing with Alana on the clutch corner one time was also a pretty low moment for me because she was making me angry.
I will never forgive you for that either, Royal.
For arguing with you on camera?
Yeah, you're supposed to have my back.
I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to apologize to it for this day by not getting you anything or not ever really officially apologizing. Thank you, Richard Campbell, for the $10 dono. He said, what's worse than not getting proper trade return for Tyler Herro, having a deal with another year of his version of Herro, with this version of Herro? He can improve, but there's risk to your team if Goran has to return too.
No, he'll be better.
They're both coming back, bro, and I think Tyler Herro will be better. Pick something to talk about. We've been going for an hour and 7 minutes. I kind of don't want this to end because this is our last time together, and I love you all so very much. I'm getting drunk about a second, so I'm going to start emotionally giving you all praise for a minute. But no, Alfredo Arteaga, tell us what we're going to talk about. But read the dono from Daniel Rutledge first.
All right, Daniel Rutledge says, thank you for your $1.99 donation. He says, bench players thrive against the Heat. Well, that's the random scrub Heat killer thing. It's been going on since forever.
And when your bench sucks.
Yeah, but I'll talk about something. Make one move. You get to make one move. Tomorrow, Mickey Arison tells you get a phone and you get the title of Heat Czar. You can only make one move, and this has to be something that you can actually do because you can't say, "Oh, I signed Kawhi," because everybody can say, "Sign Kawhi." So think about what you actually can do if you have power. Alana, you go first. One move.
Okay, well, now that you put that out there that it has to be realistic, I don't know where I'm going with this because we don't have.
Yeah, it has to be something that you can actually do. Like I'll give you an example. you could get Duncan into a room and say, "What do you want? You want the max? Here's the max." Like, like that's something that can happen.
That laugh.
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know what direction to go here because here's my problem. It's either we get rid of literally everybody, which is not gonna happen.
I said one move.
I know. Can we just get Jason Tatum? Can I do that?
That's against the spirit of the game.
I prefer.
Okay, you're new here. I don't listen to any rules.
We'll come back
You're
to
new.
We'll come back to you when you get the flavor of everybody else.
No. This is what I mean.
Okay, there we go. That's
All
what I
right,
wanted to come in.
Adam's up there, the resident Heat GM. Adam, one move that you
Jason
can
Tatum?
do. Has to be something you can do. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Bam's not allowed to leave the gym until he shoots threes.
Okay, like that's one right there. Brian, your one move.
Has to be realistic.
Yeah, it's something that like if you got the power tomorrow, it's something that you can do by yourself that a player will agree with or he has to agree with.
You know what? I think my one move would be Lonzo, just because I think he's going to make Bam better. So that's what I'm going with.
So he's a free agent. So you would just give him whatever he wants.
Oh, I got to give him whatever he. Well, then he's just going to act for the
Well, it
max.
has to be something that you can control. It's one move that you could control. Because then the obvious answer is get Kawhi here and all problems are solved. Has to be something you can control. Like you can control Lonzo taking the max.
I feel like
I think you could control Duncan taking $20 million a year. I'll allow that.
I feel like
That is
Lonzo's
too much.
probably
It's like if you get
$1 mil
Lonzo,
for
then how much are you paying him?
Probably around what you pay Duncan, I would imagine. I don't think he's going to be super. You think he's going to be more?
Yeah, I think.
Really?
A little bit more. Probably like 24.
22, 23. I was thinking
Yeah.
22, 23.
I think I still do that for Lonzo. Yeah.
I don't think we should give Duncan 20. I feel like 18 is where we should stop.
Yeah, you don't give him more than Joe Harris. There's no way. Joe Harris is a better basketball player.
Yeah.
Did Duncan lose himself money?
Bogdanovich is the
Bogdanovich a better basketball. He's better too, though. Like
Did Duncan lose himself money in this series?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to continue with Al's game though.
All right. So Brian is sitting in a room with Lonzo
Ball.
and opening up the checkbook, and I think Lonzo would take that.
Yeah.
Gad, one move.
Lonzo was my answer. I'm all in on the Lonzo thing now. We need a 3-level scorer. Trying to think who would be on the table. I mean, Zach LaVine would be great.
Kyle Lowry.
Old, not an asset as soon as he signs a contract. We need to get assets in the building at this point. Can I defer to Ariel really quick?
All right, Ariel, one move.
I pray that the Denver Nuggets or whoever Portland might beat in the next round advances to the next round, and then Portland loses to whoever. And then I hit them up about CJ McCollum and see if they want to blow it up. And I put everything on the table. Now, might other teams have more to offer? Sure. But sometimes you get into a scenario where a team doesn't necessarily want to empty the clip for a certain player. CJ, if I remember correctly, is due – I don't remember how many years, but he's close to 30 mil. He's right around 30 mil. If someone wants to check that out and let me know. And he's not exactly the youngest guy, but sometimes teams don't empty the clip for whatever player, and it might just come down to timing. If you get in early on that and the word doesn't necessarily get out, you never know. You might be able to swing something there. So if they're in any way interested in blowing it up or at least shuffling the deck, I hit them up about CJ McCollum. There's a couple other teams where you could say something similar for their guy who would come here and be like a top-level scorer for you. I'd poke around at every single disgruntled star, any team that wants to shake things up because they underperformed, and I try to get that guy.
And
So
just by the way,
Portland-
CJ McCollum, 3 years left with an average salary of 33 mil.
So if for example, let's say Portland asks you to empty out their roster, anything they want, like they ask you to hand them they ask you, give us your roster and we get to pick the deal, and all you can say, obviously you're going to say no Jimmy, no Bam, right?
Right.
So if they tell you, give me the roster, we make the deal, you got to say yes to it. That's what you do.
Anybody on the roster not named Jimmy and Bam?
Okay, then that qualifies for the one move because I think that Portland would do that. Royal, one move.
I'm putting Tyler Herro on Bam Adebayo's lifting plan. Get your scrawny ass in the weight room and learn how to. I don't know. I want that motherfucker flexing after he shoot. Like, I want bodybuilder Tyler Herro or something. Like, I want him to get bigger. I want him to get stronger. And I believe that that's something that can immediately help this team. It'll help him in terms of finishing, getting to the rim, taking contact and shit like that. But I want him to get stronger. So that'll be one of my priorities as opposed to like looking outside because I don't know. I can't trust that we're going to guarantee to get any move like that. Like, so I'd rather just try and get Tyler Herro to get a little bit stronger. Before we make our rounds back to, I think Gad and Alana, I don't know if Alana wants to answer, but Gad, I know Gad needs to answer. Let me get to these comments. Thank you, Christian Cardews, for the $4.99. Don't know. He said, worst part is that my Knicks fan family going to clown me when I visit tomorrow. Our worst moment came against the team we gentlemen swept. Shame. Yeah,
get a new family.
Right, that's what I'm saying. This on them.
Did you guys see how sad? Did you guys see how sad Spike Lee? It's a great idea. It's just horribly executed. He was wearing the hat with all the banners that the Knicks have won over the years on it. That thing literally had just 6 little sad division championship banners with the championship in '73 on the top. That thing was sad.
Loser ass franchise.
That's a great idea, by the way.
Spike Lee always looked like somebody auntie sitting on the side of the damn thing. Thank you, Mark M, for the $2 dono. He said, my one move is to reconstruct Bam's contract. Not a chance.
It's not a thing in the NBA.
You can't do that.
Thank you, Talking Movies, for the $2.99 dono. He said, sign Lonzo. Mark Jr. for the $2 dono. He said, one move, forget the kids, get Bill. Look,
sure.
I'm with that shit too. Like, if they say we can do it, then we'll try and do it. But I see a lot of other.
I wouldn't allow that one. I wouldn't allow that one as the one move because you can't control that. Because I really can see Washington saying nope.
And they won't move him if he doesn't want to be moved.
Yeah. So that's not one you can control. Like, Brian had a good idea. Like, you sit in a room with Lonzo and you say, here's $24 million. I'm pretty certain he's going to say, yeah.
Please turn it down. Thank you. Julber Prajaris, you said, Royal, so you're a Herro supporter? Bro, what are you talking about? I've been a Herro supporter the whole year. Have you not been watching, bro?
He wears our fucking uniform, of course.
Yeah, bro. I'm a stan, bro.
So he doesn't.
I'm literally like the best. Tyler Herro's the best, bro.
My eyes rolled so far back that I saw the back of my brain.
I saw. He's the future, guys.
He might be the best young guard in the East.
Bro, easily. Top 5, bro. Quickly. Who? What?
He's a
Talking
bucket.
about, bro. Tyler Halliburton? Move out the way. Tybal? Herro.
I want people not to forget all that hype was earned in last year's playoffs.
I'm not totally. I think some fans blew it out of proportion for sure. But
but the hype was earned.
Objectively speaking, all I want to get to on this is objectively speaking, he was spectacular for the Heat given the circumstances in the playoffs, and it looked
that was a
like
19-year-old doing.
It looked like he was going to ascend this year. All the rest of it out of our control.
People were comparing this guy to Dwayne Wade. Like he has done nothing to earn that comparison.
Well, objectively speaking, he broke.
Except have better numbers than Dwayne Wade in his first playoffs.
Yeah, that's what he did, and they broke like a Magic Johnson record for number of like double-figure scoring games by a rookie in the playoffs or some shit like that. Like he broke the record. Let's not act like we weren't all on here talking about he's the future. Like, bro, we were all on that shit, bro. Like I thought that boy was it, and then I saw it and I was like, that ain't it. Thank you, Christian Carter, for the $199.
It's Deion Waiters without the defense, bro.
I mean, like I just think that we all gotta.
He say lock Tyler in the gym until Gore can't get past him. It'll be years, bro. Tyler have a beard by the time they come out that fucking gym.
We all just gotta keep in mind with Tyler though, like not a lot of rookies get to be on good playoff teams and play a ton of minutes, right? Like
that's true.
You go through a number of rookies. Zion could have put up those numbers in the playoffs if he was on the Heat. Like this isn't to say he didn't. I get it. I'm just saying that
I just don't get why everything has to be a comparison. Last season was last season. This season is this season. Next year will be next year. Like, why are we doing this to every single player?
I'm just saying that it's not a Tyler specific thing that he he put up a lot of points in his rookie season in the playoffs. He was one of the few to get that type of an opportunity, and credit on him for taking the opportunity and rolling with it and playing better or
so
playing
then
well.
he
I'm just saying it doesn't mean
that.
he's the.
But I feel like then he deserved the praise, and now he deserves not the praise because he had a bad season. Like,
but the
why
praise
can't
he
we
was
just do
getting
that?
was like really, really intense. People were calling him all kinds of things, saying they wouldn't
but
trade him
you
for
also have to
Bradley
keep in
Beal and James
mind-
Harden, and he didn't earn that. He
At
earned people
the
calling him a
We
good
all
player.
needed that bubble run, though. Like,
Say the
I don't
name.
think I'm the only one speaking for myself here. Like, that bubble run, it was a bad year just personally for everybody, and I think everyone was just holding on to what they had to hold on to. You know what I mean? Like, I think that if that happened another year and not in the bubble, people might not have been giving into the hype that much. But like, the NBA came back, everyone was excited, the Heat were doing well. I mean, the whole snarl thing, like, it was a moment. Just take the moment. We needed it. Now let's move on. We can criticize him for this season. Like, it's two different things.
No, that's
Okay.
fair. Like I mean,
So-
we can't ever know, but I think that also, again, just this dude was getting Devin Booker comparisons before he did any of that. You know, you were telling him that he could be better than Devin Booker, who is an amazing player. So I don't think that it's necessarily that the bubble created the legend of Tyler Herro. I think that people already had really high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And my point, again, is not to shit on him and say that he's a bad player, because he's absolutely not. I'm just saying that the level of hype was far beyond his actual play.
Ryan, you have to tell your kid he can be anything. He can be an astronaut, whatever. Doesn't mean he's going to end up being that.
Yeah, but Tyler Herro's a grown-ass man, so I'm going to treat him like a grown-ass man.
So Adam, no, to your point, no, we didn't all think that. You did not think that about Tyler Herro. Daniel Rutledge, John Wall, anyone?
Not that contract.
Okay.
No, sir.
Come on, man.
But Alana, you know what? You actually brought up a really good point that I did not care to think about this entire season, because we've now experienced a full year of basketball. A lot of times we forget about what went into that bubble. We had spent 5 months without sports. Like, so when the Heat got in there or when we got into the bubble, we were all excited about them coming back to play basketball. And then when the Heat went on that run, we all got so emotionally invested in what the team was doing, considering all the circumstances. 2020 was one of the worst years in history. But it's like that gave Heat fans a moment of just like a couple of moments for a few months. Like, we had a grand old time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember jumping on these post-game shows going absolutely ham during that time because I was having a good time watching them. And maybe I was part of the crowd that fed Herro a little bit too much. But to your point, we have to keep these things in perspective. Gad, you haven't talked in about 15 minutes. What do you want to say?
So to Alex's question, I guess the one thing that I would answer would be, I know Ariel answered CJ McCollum kind of out of left field, but I think if you could get Malcolm Brogdon on this team, that would be an unbelievable acquisition. If you have to give Herro, so be it. But Malcolm Brogdon does a little bit of everything. He's 3-and-D. He can get his own shot. He can pass the ball. I mean, he had games where he had like 27, 7, and 7 against us in the playoffs last year. If you can get him with Jimmy and Bam, I think that would be a great compliment. I don't know if it's possible. I'm also all in on Brian's point. He took the point that I wanted. Lonzo would just be a beautiful thing to add to this team. They're kind of the same mold. They're 3-and-D type players. I think Brogdon's better right now. Lonzo could eventually get to that level, if not higher.
Okay. So we've been going on here for about an hour and 20. Want to do a little bit longer show since our last one. Don't want to take up too much more of everybody's time. So we want to get to some of these sponsors. So first one we're going to do is Therapist Preferred. Thanks to our sponsor, Therapist Preferred. They are a premium CBD company. Sell 100% THC-free, third lab verified premium CBD products, including their strawberry lemonade gummies, their green apple gummies, which I know me and Alana actually have some of. Make sure you use the promo code 5 Reasons for a limited time. You're going to get 25% off your order plus free shipping. Also, since being Alana are the only two sitting here, Alana, you get to pay Vertagear today.
All right. Well, you know what's up? I've been sitting in this lovely chair for most of the season. It's aesthetically pleasing. It was easy for me to put it together. What more can I say? The affiliate link, I think, is in our description. And help get some lovely gentlemen on this panel a chair. Go buy yourself one. I think Kristen Carduse bought one. I'm sure he's very happy with it. So we love Vertagear over here.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Richard Campbell, for the $10 dono. He said, till next time, friends. Here's some dono. Why not? Thank you, my brother. We really appreciate you for joining us all season. Gadiel Cartagena, one time for the people. Make sure you do the Miami Grill ad.
Miami Grill, listen, the one guy that didn't play today, you know why he didn't play today? Because he was down bad at 2 a.m. at Miami Grill last night off Atlantic Boulevard in Pompano.
Yes, indeed.
He was eating that good stuff from Miami Grill because he figured if I'm not going to play, I might as well. I'm craving it. Miami Grill's making it. I might as well get in my car and drive all the way up to Pompano, go get some food. So do what Bielitsa does. Go to Pompano. If you live anywhere in the United States, just drive to Pompano. It's worth the drive. Or not Pompano. Miami Grill is all over South Florida. But
Pompano might not want to be your first stop when you get to South Florida, bro.
Go to Miami Grill. Make sure you get all that good food. Get the wings, get the gyros, the cheesesteaks, all that good stuff, fries, whatever it is that you may need. Get it from Miami Grill. If you're craving it, they're making it. They're all over South Florida, open late, Uber Eats, whatever it is that you need. Make sure to get your food from Miami Grill the same way Bielitsa does.
Yes, indeed. Brian, my man, pay the primary sponsor of the Post-Up Show, Biscayne Bay Brewery.
All right. Well, you know what? Today, this morning, this afternoon, it hasn't been the best for Heat fans. But at the end of the day, y'all still live in South Florida. It's a beautiful day outside. It's summer. It is the perfect time to go outside, chill by the lake, see some nature, hang out with the boys or the ladies, and get yourself a delicious ice cold Biscayne Bay brewing beer. They're a locally owned, independently operated brewery in the heart of Miami. They got the delicious Regatta Double IPA, the Tropical Bay IPA, the Marlins Lager, the Pastime Pilsner, the Miami Pale Ale, or the La Colada Porter. All amazing options. And they're the official craft beer of not only the Miami Marlins, but the Miami Heat. You know, this is this is the perfect time. The perfect time to go outside and just relax, man. Get back to real life. Y'all can find them anywhere you get alcohol. In a restaurant, if you don't see it on the menu, you could ask what they probably have it, or find it at any local store in South Florida and enjoy a nice cold one with the boys.
Exactly. Brian, just a note, when you talk about Florida and you talk about lakes, it's usually alligators in there.
Oh,
so we don't want to go to the lake in Florida.
All right, maybe don't go to the lake then.
No. You can go to the highs. They call it the highs down here, bro. You go to the highs and drink your beer. Thank you, Christian Carter, for the $1.99. He said Miami Grill, the future eatery of Kyle Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, bro, he's probably the most surefire thing that we have in free agency. If we want him, we can get him. Like, I think that's going to be the case. We're not going to do so much of the extra shows today. We think we paid all the bills. I want to take these last couple of minutes to kind of thank some of the people who have joined the Post Up Show over the course of this season to make sure that it has been a success, make sure it's been wonderful. First of all, we're going to thank all you guys in the comments. I got Christian Cardu's Poetic Lifestyles, Abdel Shaw or Abel Shaw, and Abdel, HM. Of course, hope you're having a good afternoon, HM.
Cambo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of you guys whose names I'm going to forget.
So many people.
You guys have been rolling with us all year long, so we really appreciate you guys for coming in here, sticking with us through hard times. Like, it's been rough a lot of times on these post-game shows, but y'all always made it better for us, so we really appreciate you. Want to shout out to my guy, Ariel Latiz. My dude came through, and he provided us with a great basketball mind. He came a little bit after the beginning of the season, but my dude came in here, became one of the better basketball minds that we had on the network. He's been jumping in on all the different sports. So that shit has been wonderful. So we really appreciate you, Ariel. Appreciate all your work, bro, all your hard work. Always available, always willing, dog. Just appreciate what you do. Yeah, Gadiel Cartagena, who I call probably the second or third best host on the Post Up. Gadiel is probably the future host of the Post Up when he decides to take my job, because my man is so smart, super funny, always with the slick comments in the background that people don't notice, but I notice every single fucking one of them. Brought special segments to the show with the culture minutes and shit like that. Exactly. The cricket boy. Brought the bad Wi-Fi to the Post Up. Always loving that. But Gad, bro, always entertaining, bro, always informative, always thoughtful, bro. We really appreciate you coming over here and just adding value to what we already were doing here on the Post Up. So thank you, brother, for always joining me. Always have my back and all that kind of shit.
Thank you.
To my fellow black man down there. My man, Brian is the king.
Well, I thought you were about me, man.
Oh, you my brown brother, Alfredo Artiaga. but Brian, bro, that's one of the things that people don't value. Like me, you, and Ricky, we're the only 3 black people on the Post Up Show. Cultural references, bro. Cultural references don't slip by you guys. You brought us a different perspective. People may call you a hater, but you've been one of the most realistic and informative people that we've had on this show. Your thoughts always have perspective, and they're your perspective, and everybody may not agree with them, but, bro, they are your perspective. Stay true to who you are, bro. Don't let these zeros and ones shake you, bro. They can't, because your shit is real and your shit is true to you. As long as you be that, you're going to be great in this business. You write awesome horror stories, even though I've never read a single one of them.
Brian is weird because I read it. Sometimes he puts out a tweet, and I'm like, man, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no.
Maybe I won't argue with him, but since I've been on this post-game show, I tend to agree with almost everything he says.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you listen, like a lot of people take one part of what Brian says and put that as his entire point, and that's never really the case. It's always layered. He's probably one of the smart. Yeah, he's nuanced. He's probably the smartest person on the post game show. Yeah, but you're one of the top 3. You're one of the top 3 smartest people on this post game show. So everything that you say is nuanced, and if people took the time to listen, then they would understand that you're coming from a place of an actual Heat fan who just wants to see this team does better. Going to talk about some of the people who are absent. My guy, Ricky J. Mark. You guys can talk about him as a Knicks fan or whatever, but Wikipedia, the Rictionary, is my man 100 grand. That is the 5 Reasons Sports historian. That man knows his shit. He knows what he's talking about. And when he pulls a reference, he's doing that shit off the top of his head. Ain't no Google involved in that. So half of you guys can learn from what that man does. So appreciate you, Ricky, for jumping on here. My man, Simba, always taking me out of my shit on the show. I always want to make sure that he's causing chaos. But the boy is the one who brought the boy feeling good to the post-up show. His contributions this entire season have been invaluable. Like, Simba, man, I appreciate you, dude. And I look forward to working with you guys for the rest of the season. Now let's talk about my corner 4. We'll do Adam later. He's in the background. He loves being praised. And so I'm going to give him very minimum praise.
Job well done.
Unmute me, ho. But I want to talk about my guy, Michael Christian. Michael Christian, I poke fun at Michael Christian, but Michael Christian is one of my best friends on this network, bro. Like, this man is hilarious. He actually made me start talking about anime and shit in a public forum. But he brings out the kid in me a lot of times because that's my dude. Like, it's almost like having somebody who I grew up with on the streams, because me and Michael were here before a lot of everybody else is here. He's one of the people who I started doing this with, so I appreciate Michael. This is very long. Want to thank the First Lady of 5 Reasons Sports, Alana Tahower. Y'all say I sent for Alana. It's because I love Alana Tahower. I like the fact that she's not putting up with my shit. I like the fact that she's not taking no shit from nobody on this network. I like the fact that whatever she says, that's what the fuck she means, and she gonna stick to it, and she gonna argue it to the death of her. Goddamn, even if she fucking wrong, which sometimes she do, she'll never admit it.
Very
but
rarely,
she gonna argue that shit. She gonna argue that shit. But I always appreciate a person who's gonna be who they are, no matter what the circumstances are. So thank you, Alana, and I appreciate you for joining on here. Now to my dude in the background, the man Clutch, Adam NBA. If you do not know, all of us here are members of Clutch Academy. Clutch is one of the people who put this team together. He interviewed all of us. He interviewed all of us to try and put together a show that would be entertaining for fans. And that man makes sure he brought in some pretty good personality. I was his first recruit, so I'm not a member of Clutch Academy. I'm like the dean of Clutch Academy. but it's kind of like he started pulling together personalities that he thought would fit well on a post-game show. And I think he did a fantastic job. My dude is always working behind the scenes, just being honest, even though he don't ever want to get on the stream and talk or none of that shit. But he always working behind the scenes. He's a very thoughtful person. He donated to the stream several times. So we appreciate you, Clutch. Adam, want to thank the general of the 5 Reasons Sports Network, my man, Ethan J. Skolnick. I give Ethan more shit on my Twitter timeline and on this stream than damn near anybody. But this man is one of the reasons that I wanted to do this network. I'm a fan of Ethan J. Skolnick. I have been a fan of Ethan J. Skolnick since I was a wee little boy, because he's been writing for newspapers since I was a wee little boy. And I have been reading Ethan J. Skolnick's work forever. So I really appreciate him for giving all of us an opportunity and let us use his platform to talk shit about him. He's probably asleep right now. Thank you, Alfredo Arteaga, the Godfather, for jumping on here with us. I've been wanting my dude to get on here all season long because we did post games last year, and that shit was one of the best experiences of my life. Just having that level of wisdom, that kind of character, and that level of knowledge on the show always will improve it. So I want to thank you, my man, for joining us during this playoff run, no matter how short it was. It was great having you on again. Great streaming with you again, brother. Hopefully we can do it again during the Dolphins season when I will be joining some of them Dolphins season to give you some of my expert takes. I don't know if anybody else got anything that y'all want to say before we get up out of here because we're about to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm sorry. I did.
The boy.
I am so sorry, Jonathan Rumlicon.
My great here on the network.
Jonathan Rumlicon, who I consider a better host than I could ever hope to be. Jonathan Rumlicon, you are, if Brian's in that top 3, you are also in that top 3 smartest people that are on this network. You have the versatility and the dexterity. Look at it, he's shedding a tear right now. You have the versatility and the dexterity to be able to talk about any subject with knowledge, humor, and just giving out straight bars. I mean, your stats are wishy-washy, but you know what I mean? But other than that, my brother, you have always been rock solid for me, bro. Even during this playoff run, when we've been rotating this, you've always made yourself available. You've always told me that you're willing to jump in for me anytime when I miss seasons. You were the host, bro, so I really appreciate you for jumping here, being a number 2 to a dude who really needed one. I really appreciate you. I mean, sorry that I forgot you in the first one. And I cannot forget. I'm sorry. Last person. The producer extraordinaire who's not here today, but my guy, Manny Chang.
Yes.
That is our boy. Fuck is you talking about? I love Manny when he jump on here, start the show before time. But Manny is always willing to do. He's flexible enough to be able to do any type of weird shit that we want to do. We send him shit last minute. He makes it work with the program. He putting up little funny memes and shit like that. So Manny, appreciate you, bro, for being here with us all season. Well, most of the season when you're not watching Inter Miami. But appreciate you for being here, bro. Whenever you were here, appreciate you for being a part of this team that people don't really recognize and don't get to see every day. But just know, bro, you're just as much a part of this team as everybody else here. So now, everybody, get your final words in before we go ahead and we start wrapping this shit up. We're gonna start with Alfredo Artiaga.
Run it back.
Not a fucking chance. Alana.
Listen, this season was rough, but we made it, and I've had a blast with all of y'all. Clutch Corner is going to come up. Me and Michael's pod is going to continue, so there's still going to be content for you guys, but thank you so much for supporting.
Beautiful. Oh, somebody wants me to
Yeah,
talk
this is a couple of shows. They have great chemistry. It's a great show.
Yeah, it is, bro. I be jealous sometimes because they still ain't invite me on. Thank you. Brian, your turn.
Heat and 5.
Thank you, Christian Carter, for the $1.99. He said gonna miss this show. Anime 5 RSN podcast. You have to talk to the resident anime analogy master, and that is Michael Christian.
That's
okay?
all you and Michael, Royal. Let's go. The
Michael,
people want to see what they want to see.
If Michael bought that life, bro, I'm about that life, and I'm gonna take your spot on field.
I feel like I can speak on Michael's behalf. He's in.
Oh, Michael?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just text him.
I'm his manager now.
Oh, there we okay. Well, yeah. Alana said you're in, Michael. We're doing the Anime Heat podcast. Gadiel Cartagena, you want to talk about walkouts and knockouts?
Oh, no. I just was trying to reference that you missed Jonathan. I was trying to different things that would just make it click in your brain, but it's all good.
Okay.
In terms of my last words, whatever it may be, I've had a blast with all of you guys. It's been super fun, and it's an honor to get on this stream literally every single time. I do not take it for granted. The people in the comments, you guys are awesome, whether we have differing opinions or not. And as for the Heat, like Alana said, this season was brutal. It sucked. It was underwhelming. But I think the Heat are going to be all right. You have 2 stars in the building in Jimmy and Bam. You have a front office that is going to have to take a hard look in the mirror and say, this shit wasn't good enough. And I think the Heat are going to be fine. They have money. They have a few young players there. I think the Heat are going to be all right. I'm optimistic as to how the future will look. I don't think it's going to end in another first-round sweep. So, silver linings. Silver linings.
Yeah.
All right, but who finished the season at the top of the culture minutes leaders?
Uncle Deadman. I mean, he was historic by every single metric that I've ever made, and the only metric is my eye test. And my eye test tells me that Uncle Deadman is a historic culture player, and hopefully – we re-sign him, because if we let him go, then we're really struggling with size.
Culture is dead.
All right, he's only second to Gabe Vincent.
Tweak that.
Wait, it's Detman then Gabe Vincent? Like it's 1-2?
Yeah.
I thought it feels to me more like a 1-1A situation.
And on the team,
Shout out John Crotty.
The all-time leader on the team currently has to be Goran Dragic. No.
Yes, Goran Dragic in terms of all time, but this year.
No,
No,
you Udonis Haslam.
I was gonna say that's OG.
I forgot about the OG. No, see, for Udonis though, because he's so old, we had to change it over to culture years. I actually do have that graph somewhere around here. But
Michael, I signed you up for something. You're gonna love it.
Yes, indeed. Ariel, last words on the season, bro.
Like Gad said, man, so appreciative of you guys letting me come on here, be part of the team, and you know, as much fun as it is and as enjoyable as it is to, you know, talk hoops with you guys and engage with the comments and all of that, it's cathartic, right? Because this wasn't the easiest season. Like, there were a lot of really down moments. So coming on here makes it all better. Appreciate the comments, even though Royal calls you guys zeros and ones. I think you're all at least threes. I also think the Heat, like Gad said, will be fine. Don't feed into the Twitter trolls. The Heat will be just fine. They'll bounce back. So long, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So y'all know how we're gonna wrap this show up. Game 1 next season. The Heat about to blow that shit out. Fuck is you talking about? So
not if we play the Magic.
We blowing that shit out, Gaddy.
Damn it, Gad.
So as always,
wait. I think there's one person, and maybe we can go around. I'm gonna take over as host real quick here, Royal, if you don't mind.
Thing, bro.
There's one person that I don't think was mentioned, actually, which is kind of crazy. You, Royal, actually, for everything that you do, being the superstar host extraordinaire that you are. I mean, literally, I cannot make this up. I have had before I was even on this, I had such a joy tuning in to watch you in specific, Royal. Like, you in specific you are the post game show. Like, people tune in. We, Ariel, myself, Brian, Alana, Alf, we may be here. You are the post game show. So I just want to thank you for every single thing that you do, because you have truly, like, your personality, the way you break things down, everything. You're funny as hell. You're always bringing the energy. That is not something that is easy to do, as being someone that has tried to sit in your shoes before. That shit is hard. And you do it at the highest level every single night. That consistency and your personality and everything it's amazing. And honestly, I hopefully I speak for everybody on this panel. I speak for myself. You are one of the biggest gems in 5 Reasons as a whole, and Heat Nation, whatever it may be. And we just want to say thank you for being you the entire year and for being here with us.
Take me out of the full screen.
Accepted speech.
So thank you guys in the comments for joining us, as always, making the show much more fun than it would have been without you. Thank you to my guys, Ariel, Alfredo, Alana Tower, Brian Young, Gadiel Cartagena, Ricky J. Mark, Simba, Michael Christian, Ethan J. Skonik, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, fucking Brady Hawk, Jonathan Roblicon. I keep forgetting Jonathan. Adam Barai. Thank you, everybody who has made us this show what it was. Don't worry, I'll be back trolling y'all ass again next season. Play the video, Adam.
Yes, a record-setting night from downtown. Dragons, a triple to end the third quarter, and he wants more. It's a Robinson rainstorm from downtown. Jimmy on the class, rams it back with both hands. Out to Herro for the three. Yes! Butler did it! Oh, say it with your chest! Second to none. What a start to the overtime for Miami.
Bro, come on with the foolishness, bro. You know what I'm about to do.